Before 2026 begins, you have a window of opportunity that may never come again. You have a chance to set yourself apart from the masses who will spend the next year making the same excuses, following the same routines, and getting the same disappointing results. You have a chance to join the small percentage of people who actually take action on their dreams instead of just talking about them. I'm going to share with you 5 specific things you must do before 2026 begins. These aren't suggestions. These aren't nice ice that might help you feel a little better about yourself. These are imperatives. These are the actions that separate the successful from the unsuccessful, the wealthy from the poor, the fulfilled from the frustrated. If you implement these 5 things, your life will never be the same. If you ignore them, you'll continue getting the same results you've always gotten, and you'll wonder why others seem to have all the luck while you seem to have all the problems. The first thing you must do before 2026 begins is develop a personal philosophy that serves you. Most people don't have a philosophy. They have a collection of borrowed opinions, inherited beliefs, and popular prejudices. They've never sat down and really thought about what they believe about success, about money, about relationships, about personal growth. They just drift along, accepting whatever philosophy happens to be popular at the moment, and then they wonder why their results are so average. Your personal philosophy is like the software that runs your life. If you have poor software, you'll get poor results no matter how hard you work. If you have powerful software, you'll get powerful results even when you're not working that hard. Most people are running on outdated software that was installed by well-meaning but unsuccessful people when they were children. It's time to upgrade. Here's what you need to understand about developing a personal philosophy. It's not about finding the truth with a capital T. It's about finding beliefs that serve you, beliefs that move you toward your goals instead of away from them, beliefs that empower you instead of limiting you. The question isn't whether your philosophy corresponds to some ultimate reality. The question is whether it works. Does it make you more successful or less successful? Does it make you happier or more miserable? Does it move you forward or hold you back? Let me give you an example. Some people believe that money is the root of all evil. Other people believe that money is a tool that amplifies who you already are. Which philosophy do you think leads to better financial results? Some people believe that you have to sacrifice your integrity to become wealthy. Other people believe that integrity is actually the fastest path to sustainable wealth. Which philosophy do you think creates more peace, more to mind? Your philosophy about failure is particularly important. Most people have been taught that failure is something to be avoided at all costs. They've been taught that failure is embarrassing, that it means they're not good enough, that it proves they should quit trying. This philosophy virtually guarantees a life of mediocrity because anyone who tries to achieve anything significant will encounter failure along the way. Successful people have a completely different philosophy about failure. They see failure as information. They see it as education. They see it as the price you pay for experience. They understand that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to success. They know that you can't succeed without failing, just like you can't learn to walk without falling down. Your philosophy about work is equally important. Some people see work as something they have to do to pay the bills. They approach work with resentment, counting the minutes until 5 o'clock, living for the weekend. Other people see work as their opportunity to contribute, to grow, to express their talents, to make a difference. Which philosophy do you think leads to better career results? Developing your personal philosophy isn't something you do once and forget about. It's an ongoing process. You need to constantly examine your beliefs and ask yourself whether they're serving you or limiting you. You need to read books that challenge your thinking. You need to expose yourself to different perspectives. You need to test your beliefs against your results and be willing to change the beliefs that aren't working. Before 2026 begins, I want you to write down your philosophy about the key areas of your life: success, money, relationships, health, personal growth, work, failure, opportunity. Don't just think about it, write it down. Writing forces clarity. When you write down your philosophy, you'll discover beliefs you didn't even know you had. You'll uncover contradictions in your thinking. You'll identify areas where your philosophy needs work. This leads directly to the second thing you must do before 2026 begins. Set goals that inspire you rather than goals that merely satisfy you. Most people don't set goals at all, which is why they end up anywhere instead of somewhere specific. But even among the small percentage of people who do set goals, most set goals that are too small, too safe, too comfortable. They set goals based on what they think is possible rather than what they truly desire. Here's what you need to understand about goal setting. Your goals don't just determine what you achieve, they determine who you become. If you set small goals, you'll become a small person. If you set large goals, you'll become a large person. The size of your goals determines the size of your life. I'm not talking about setting unrealistic goals that have no foundation in reality. I'm talking about setting goals that stretch you, goals that require you to grow, goals that force you to become more than you currently are. You see, the purpose of goals isn't just to get something, it's to become someone. The person who achieves $1 million goal isn't the same person who set that goal. They've had to develop new skills, new habits, new ways of thinking. They've had to overcome obstacles that seemed impossible at the beginning. They've had to persist when persistence seemed pointless. Most people set goals in the wrong categories. They set goals about things they want to have instead of goals about who they want to become. They want a bigger house, a nicer car, more money in the bank. There's nothing wrong with wanting these things, but they're not the kind of goals that create lasting fulfillment. The goals that create lasting fulfillment are the goals that focus on growth, contribution, and becoming. What kind of person do you want to become before 2026 begins? What skills do you want to develop? What habits do you want to establish? What weaknesses do you want to eliminate? What strengths do you want to enhance? These are the goals that matter because they're the goals that stick. You can lose your money, you can lose your possessions, but you can never lose who you become. Your goals should also be written down in detail. A goal that's not written down is just a wish. A goal that's not specific is just a dream. You need to know exactly what you want, exactly when you want it, and exactly what you're going to do to get it. Vague goals produce vague results. Specific goals produce specific results. But here's the key. Your goals must be aligned with your personal philosophy. If your philosophy says that money is evil, but your goal is to become wealthy, you've created an internal conflict that will sabotage your efforts. If your philosophy says that you're not smart enough to succeed, but your goal is to build a business, you're fighting yourself before you even start. This is why developing your philosophy comes first. Your goals must be consistent with your beliefs about what's possible and what's desirable. The third thing you must do before 2026 begins is master the art of personal discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's the bridge between inspiration and achievement. It's the bridge between necessity and productivity. Without discipline, all the goal setting in the world won't help you, because discipline is what turns intentions into actions and actions into results. Most people have a fundamental misunderstanding about discipline. They think discipline is about forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. They think it's about grinding through activities that are unpleasant or boring. They think it's about sacrifice and deprivation. This misunderstanding is why most people struggle with discipline and why most people never achieve their goals. True discipline isn't about forcing yourself to do anything. True discipline is about training yourself to want the right things. It's about developing preferences that serve you instead of preferences that sabotage you. It's about creating systems and habits that make success automatic instead of difficult. Let me explain what I mean. If you're trying to lose weight but you love junk food, you can try to force yourself to avoid junk food through willpower alone. But willpower is a limited resource. Eventually you'll run out of willpower and you'll go back to eating junk food. That's not discipline, that's torture. Real discipline would be training your taste buds to prefer healthy food. Real discipline would be learning to associate junk food with how terrible you feel after eating it instead of how good it tastes while you're eating it. Real discipline would be creating an environment where healthy choices are easy and unhealthy choices are difficult. The same principle applies to every area of your life. If you want to read more books but you prefer watching television, you can try to force yourself to read through willpower alone. But it would be much more effective to train yourself to prefer reading by choosing books that fascinate you, by creating a comfortable reading environment, by eliminating the television from your bedroom. Discipline is really about designing your life so that the right choices are easy and the wrong choices are difficult. It's about creating systems that support your goals instead of systems that undermine them. It's about building habits that serve you instead of habits that sabotage you. The most successful people in the world don't have more willpower than everyone else. They have better systems. They design their lives so that success is the natural result of their daily routines. They don't have to constantly fight themselves because they've aligned their environment, their habits, and their preferences with their goals. This is why you must develop discipline before 2026 begins. The longer you wait, the more entrenched your current patterns become. The longer you wait, the more difficult it becomes to change. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But if you don't use it, it atrophies. Start small, but start today. Pick one area of your life where you need more discipline and begin working on it immediately. Don't try to change everything at once, because that's a recipe for failure. Focus on one habit, one system, one area of improvement. Master that, then move on to the next one. The fourth thing you must do before 2026 begins is surround yourself with people who inspire you to become better rather than people who enable you to stay the same. You become like the people you spend the most time with. This isn't just a nice saying, it's a fundamental law of human nature. Your income will tend to be the average of your 5 closest friends. Your attitudes will reflect the attitudes of the people you associate with most. Your habits will mirror the habits of your peer group. Most people underestimate the power of association. They think they're strong enough to resist the influence of negative people. They think they can maintain high standards while surrounded by people with low standards. They think they can pursue excellence while spending time with people who are satisfied with mediocrity. This is like trying to stay dry while swimming in the ocean. The environment is stronger than the individual. If you want to become successful, you must associate with successful people. If you want to become wealthy, you must spend time with wealthy people. If you want to become healthy, you must surround yourself with people who value health. If you want to become a person of character, you must associate with people of character. This doesn't mean you should abandon your current friends and family. It means you should be more selective about who you spend your time with and more intentional about seeking out people who challenge you to grow. It means you should limit your exposure to negative people and increase your exposure to positive people. Negative people are like energy vampires. They drain your enthusiasm, your optimism, your motivation. They constantly complain about their circumstances instead of working to improve them. They make excuses instead of taking responsibility. They focus on problems instead of solutions. They see obstacles instead of opportunities. Spending time with negative people is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much positive energy you put in, it leaks out. Positive people, on the other hand, are like energy multipliers. They increase your enthusiasm, your optimism, your motivation. They share ideas instead of complaints. They offer solutions instead of problems. They see opportunities instead of obstacles. They challenge you to think bigger, dream larger, and achieve more. Spending time with positive people is like plugging into a power source. You leave every interaction feeling more energized than when you arrived. But here's what most people don't understand. You attract people who are similar to you. If you want to attract successful people, you must become successful yourself. If you want to attract positive people, you must become positive yourself. If you want to attract people of character, you must develop character yourself. You can't attract what you're not. This is why personal development is so important. The better you become, the better people you'll attract. The more value you create, the more valuable people will want to associate with you. The more you work on yourself, the more attractive you become to people who are also working on themselves. You must also learn to be valuable to the people you want to associate with. Successful people don't spend time with unsuccessful people out of charity. They spend time with people who add value to their lives, people who inspire them, people who challenge them, people who contribute something meaningful to the relationship. What value can you offer to the people you want to associate with? What can you contribute to their lives? What problems can you help them solve? What opportunities can you bring them? What insights can you share? What skills can you offer? The more value you can provide, the more access you'll have to valuable people. The fifth and final thing you must do before 2026 begins is develop multiple sources of income. In today's economy, relying on a single source of income is like building your house on a foundation with only one support beam. It might hold up for a while, but eventually it's going to collapse. The people who thrive in any economy are the people who have diversified their income sources, who have created multiple streams of revenue, who have built financial systems that don't depend on any single employer, client, or opportunity. Most people trade time for money, which is the most limited form of income generation, because there are only 24 hours in a day. Even if you could work every single hour of every single day, there's a ceiling on how much you can earn. But successful people have learned to leverage their time, their knowledge, their relationships, and their resources to create income that doesn't require their constant presence. There are many ways to create multiple income sources. You can start a side business while keeping your day job. You can invest in real estate that generates rental income. You can create information products that sell while you sleep. You can build a network marketing business that pays you based on the efforts of others. You can invest in stocks, bonds, or other financial instruments that pay dividends or interest. You can develop a skill that you can monetize through consulting or freelancing. The key is to start while you still have your primary source of income. Don't quit your job to start a business unless you have enough savings to survive for at least a year without income. Don't put all your money into one investment. Don't risk money you can't afford to lose. Build your additional income sources gradually, systematically, intelligently. But here's what you must understand. Developing multiple income sources isn't just about money. It's about security, freedom, and peace of mind. When you have multiple income sources, you're not at the mercy of any single employer, client, or economic condition. You have options, you have flexibility, you have power. People with single income sources live in constant fear of losing that income. They can't take risks because they can't afford to fail. They can't speak up when they disagree with their boss because they're afraid of getting fired. They can't pursue opportunities that might conflict with their current job. They're trapped by their dependence on that single source of income. People with multiple income sources have freedom. They can take calculated risks because failure in one area won't destroy them. They can speak their mind because they're not completely dependent on any single person or organization. They can pursue opportunities that align with their values instead of just opportunities that pay the bills. They have choices, and choices create freedom. Developing multiple income sources also forces you to develop multiple skill sets. Each income source requires different knowledge, different abilities, different relationships. As you build these various income streams, you become more valuable in the marketplace. You become more interesting as a person. You become more confident in your ability to create value wherever you go. The process of building multiple income sources will teach you about business, about investing, about marketing, about sales, about leadership, about problem solving. These are skills that will serve you regardless of what happens in the economy, regardless of what happens in your industry, regardless of what happens in the world. When you know how to create value and generate income, you're never truly unemployed, never truly dependent, never truly powerless. But you must start now. The best income sources take time to develop. Real estate investment requires time to appreciate. Business development requires time to build systems and customer bases. Investment portfolios require time to compound. Skill development requires time to master. The longer you wait to start, the longer it will take to achieve financial independence. Most people wait until they're in financial trouble to start thinking about additional income sources. They wait until they lose their job to start looking for alternatives. They wait until they're desperate to start taking action. This is backwards thinking. You develop multiple income sources when you don't need them, so they'll be there when you do need them. You plant seeds in the spring so you can harvest in the fall. You don't wait until you're hungry to plant your crops. You don't wait until you're thirsty to dig your well. You don't wait until you need multiple income sources to start developing them. You start now while you have the security of your current income, while you have the time to build them properly, while you have the luxury of making mistakes and learning from them. These 5 things I've shared with you today aren't just suggestions for a better life. They're requirements for a successful life. You cannot achieve lasting success without a personal philosophy that serves you. You cannot reach your potential without goals that inspire you. You cannot turn your dreams into reality without the discipline to take consistent action. You cannot maintain your growth without people who challenge you to become better. You cannot achieve true financial freedom without multiple sources of income. Each of these 5 elements supports and strengthens the others. Your personal philosophy determines the kinds of goals you set. Your goals determine the kind of discipline you need to develop. Your discipline determines the kind of person you become. The kind of person you become determines the kind of people you attract. The kind of people you attract determines the opportunities you have access to. The opportunities you have access to determine your ability to create multiple income sources. It's all connected, it's all systematic, it's all predictable. Success isn't mysterious or magical. Success is simply the natural result of doing the right things in the right order for a sustained period of time. The people who do these things succeed. The people who don't do these things struggle. It's that simple. But simple doesn't mean easy. Knowing what to do and actually doing it are 2 completely different things. Most people know what they should do to improve their lives. They know they should eat better, exercise more, read more books, save more money, spend time with positive people. Knowing isn't the problem. Doing is the problem. This is why you must act now, while you're motivated, while you're inspired, while you still remember the reasons why you want to change. Motivation is temporary, but action creates momentum, and momentum creates habits, and habits create results. Don't wait until you feel ready, because you'll never feel ready. Don't wait until you have more time, because you'll never have more time. Don't wait until circumstances are perfect, because circumstances are never perfect. The time is now. The opportunity is now. The choice is now. You can continue living the same life you've always lived, following the same patterns, getting the same results, making the same excuses. Or you can decide right here, right now, that 2026 is going to be different. You can decide that you're going to develop a philosophy that serves you, set goals that inspire you, master the discipline required to achieve them, surround yourself with people who challenge you to become better, and create multiple sources of income that give you freedom and security. The choice is yours, but you must choose. Not choosing is a choice. Waiting is a choice. Procrastinating is a choice. Making excuses is a choice. But so is taking action. So is taking responsibility. So is taking control of your life and your future. I've given you the blueprint. I've shown you the path. I've shared with you the 5 things that can transform your life before 2026 begins. Now it's up to you. Will you be one of the few who actually implements these ideas, or will you be one of the many who just nods in agreement and then goes back to their old patterns?